We're live.
1, 2, 3.
One,
You
two,
can't just
three.
1, 2, 3 me.
That was a 1, 2, 3, and
Dude,
go.
you just 1, 2, 3'd me.
1, 2, 3, and you're live.
It's everybody who knows that it is actually 3, 2.
3, 2, 1.
No, you don't ever say 1, Christopher. This is your world, not mine. Why do I know these things and you don't?
3, 2, and here.
Good God, cannibalistic. You see what I have to deal with?
You see, you know what? Fine.
Chat.
I'm out.
We're hiring.
There it is. Whoa!
Did we even make it a minute into the show?
We're here.
That might be a
that's
record.
It. Wow.
That might be a record.
Dusty
Hobbies, what up, my nerds? OSOB Paint says, such a disappointment.
Oh,
Arkward says, see what you have to deal with, Jason? I do see what I have to deal with on
Jason.
a daily freaking basis here.
What is that? Like I'm the guy looking over the fence. Like, hey.
The neighbor?
The neighbor. You have to deal with that guy now. How did Chris get a job behind the camera? That's a great question. That's the real.
He just
question.
counted me in 1, 2, 3. That's
One,
what
two,
he
three,
did.
And you're live.
That's what he just did. That's how he did. I'm a professional, and so I was unprepared
No.
because these meant nothing to me.
No.
He was here at work on time today, though.
I was here on time. Gabe was here on time, kind of, if you can even call it that. No.
Gabe's yelling at him from the other room. Kind of.
We all love Chris, but we're still #Team Paint Dad. I see how it is awkwardish. I appreciate that.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to whatever today is.
It is for sure
Hump Day.
Wednesday.
It is Woden's Day.
What?
Al from Home Improvement. Is that the guy that just looked over? All you saw was his eyes and the top of the bridge of his nose?
Yeah.
You never saw any of the rest of him? That was pretty good.
Oh, my gosh.
He is a prior Tiger Woods producer, after all. Yes.
I'm not.
He actually is the secret teacher of Tiger Woods.
Surprise, everybody. I'm responsible. Oh, my gosh. Welcome in, everybody. We're doing the January Challenge review today.
Hello.
It's going to be great.
Hello. And you know what we're doing up until the challenge?
Let's see. Ready?
We're
Drum
building
roll.
We're building models.
We're building models? What are we building for?
Let
me zoom.
For the things we need to paint next. That's why we're building.
Oh. Okay.
So we have these amazing things from a little game called Blackout.
Nice.
Blackout is I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it is a competitor to the Infinity style game.
We got some cool models.
And it's very what I would call near future hard sci-fi, which I really dig the aesthetic of, right? I love this type of mech robot,
like the
kind of Ghost in the Shell-ish, like close enough near future to where it's not quite cyberpunk, but it gives that vibe of this stuff could really exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got some really neat models from Blackout that came in that I will be painting up next on stream, and we're going to take advantage of the time that we have together today before we do the review to build some of these.
Nice.
The problem is I don't know that they have instructions, so I'm just going to have to look at the picture.
I didn't see any, but you were saying some of them are, yeah.
Right, I'm just going to have to look at the picture.
So
figure it out. Chat.
Some ideas we had with now that we've kind of wrapped in our vehicle series, and just some ideas that we've been throwing around here for some videos I'm putting together, like how to airbrush vehicle panels, vehicle weathering. Obviously, if you catched our streams the last couple days, Jason did a bunch of weathering, which came out great. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. And freehand decals, stuff like that. So this go around, we're going to be building up a unit. Obviously, we're not going to have much on the building. It's just putting them together, because plus a lot of those are already built too, right? Or they're one piece.
Yeah, all but the heavy infantry, which are kind of like mechs.
Right.
Not mechs. They're like robots. These are like
those
robots
are cool.
that are like the heavy infantry, but the normal infantry are just bros.
Those are actually, yeah, they're cool.
But the scale is amazing. Can you give me a zoom?
Yeah.
Might have to give me a super zoom on this.
That's
so the normal guys are just really cool, kind of like I said, like, Ghost in the Shell standard military dudes that have some high tech, these guys all have like pseudo vectors, but standard NVG flip ups and things like that, but they have like power packs on their back, some of them, and more high tech looking tools at their disposal. And then they have like the dudes they send in to get the job done and kick the door down are like robots.
Nice.
They're like AI units that travel around with them. But it's really cool, right? Like all of the sculpts are done by somebody who actually understands or use some really tremendous references for like actual weapon usage. So they're not like, because unfortunately GW stuff and most of the people in the fantasy sci-fi range, it's easy to make a wizard because nobody feels like they know what a wizard looks like.
Right.
But when you start doing dudes holding guns, none of them are ever holding their guns, right? Right. Marines included, they're never holding their guns the way you would hold a gun. Because nobody that sculpted them actually shoots a gun, so they don't have the proper understanding. Whereas resin, these guys are sculpted by people who understand the actual implementation of the weapons.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of these models. They're great.
Law Dog's asking, is that resin or fine cast?
This is resin.
Nice. He's been eyeballing.
These are 3D printed resin. You can also get all of the models that they make in metal.
Really?
Yeah, I think they spin them up in metal. I think you have to wait longer for the metal ones, but I got them in resin.
Nice.
Off the Blackout site. And if you just Google Blackout game or Blackout game, I think, and you'll find it. And Neat showed up pretty quick. I think it took me maybe 3 weeks to get them or something like that. It's a small operation, but I love supporting indie game makers. Yeah. And these models are fantastic. The fact that they come in single piece, so you just put them on a base and we're done. Yep. Is going to be great. So it just, kind of cleans some off. And, Chris was interested in doing like a paint a unit.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea with this chat is like, how to approach painting a unit, essentially, right?
Coming up with a color scheme on something like this that's a little more, it's less like Imperial Fists, like I don't really know what colors these guys would be. So, we just got to kind of make it up and come up with a good idea on our own. I like it. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to build a unit of these guys and the big, what's called a heavy duster, which is the bigger walking monstrosity that goes along with them. So it should be a lot of fun. So today we're going to put some of these together, just clean them up. I really like this guy.
Yeah, so if you tuning in, we're going to be doing the challenge review. What do you say, like in round 3 or so?
Yeah, we'll stop. Give us about an hour.
Perfect.
The group that I'm going to be building is called the Task Force Boone.
Nice.
And it comes with 7 dudes and a heavy infantry AI bot.
Nice.
And they're in like tan and green, as you can see here, kind of Delta Force-ish or something like that. But we'll pick our own colors. I can see like a black or something would be kind of cool.
Welcome in, Panic Bomb, Okrin, Doghouse, Skinner. I saw some of your guys' review pieces, so we're going to be getting to that around 3. So,
I have not done the review solo in a long time.
And
I have not looked at anybody's stuff.
This is cool. Yeah, Jason's going to...
So the whole idea from the get-go was that I would walk in with no understanding of what people had done and then just judge them against the challenge, which this month's challenge for January was to do some textures. Right?
Some present really texture cool pieces.
In Paint to create various material components on a model. So I'm excited. I have not seen a single one. I never look at the challenge deal unless somebody specifically tags me in there and is asking me a question about what will work or not work in the challenge. I don't look at them, and I don't give people helping guidance. None of that. So this will be fun where I'm just kind of starting from zero on this one. Will be kind of neat. I guess I should look at the other parts for this guy. He's got machine gun hands. I wish I had machine gun hands some days.
You wish you had machine gun hands?
Yeah. I think that other people in traffic with me are pretty happy I don't have machine gun hands.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, T. Schmidt, how you doing? Game delay. Always excited. It's going to be a big day. So the last unit we painted on stream was some Trench Crusade.
Yep.
Sugar Rusk is asking, how would you wipe?
I will not be doing these as quickly as the Trench Crusade models. The focus on the Trench Crusade models was showing you how you can very quickly get a good look on models.
Yeah.
This one we're going to take our time on, and really create a unit that can be very good detail. We'll go through all the steps that I would normally use for that, and talk a little bit about my color choices. There's not a lot in the build process on these since they're all single piece models, so there's not a lot of reposing or figuring that stuff out. So it should be fun. Should be good. Well, those things go upside down. I get it now.
I'm glad you don't have machine gun hands, Jason, because holding the steering wheel would be very hard.
Oh yeah, I'd have to have a car that drove itself.
Source, sure. Yes, we are building some Blackout models. Temeculus, whoa, 87 months with a 91-month total sub.
What?
Temeculus, that is
what?
That's crazy.
Insanity, man. Thank you.
That's awesome.
You guys,
Big hearts for
awesome.
Temeculus.
Supporting us forever. Crazy.
When I was a kid, I was scared of the dark. Now when I see my power bill, I'm scared of the lights.
Scared of the lights.
Amen to that, Temeculus.
I hear that.
Amen to that.
We need you to come spend a summer in Arizona. You'd be like, air conditioning is great until the bill shows up. Right?
Yeah, everybody, if you're just tuning in, we're building some stuff from Blackout. We're going to be prepping up how to paint some units and some deals like that as our next series. Today we are doing the review challenge around 3, so stay tuned for that.
These models are freaking awesome, man. I'm not gonna lie, these are great prints.
Cynical, thank you so much for that sub for the Prime. Appreciate it.
Really good prints.
Yeah, they're cool.
And nice and clean. So nice, so fresh and so clean.
They look good. It'll be a fun unit. I can hear the chopper blades doghouse. That's funny.
Yeah, I really like things like this that are more near future. I'm a big fan of, obviously, like 40K and stuff are really cool too.
Yeah.
When it's like far-flung sci-fi. But anytime you can show me some near future stuff that, while making sense, if you've watched like District 9.
Yeah.
Or even that horrible movie Chappie.
I never actually saw that. No good?
It's not really great.
No,
it's not horrible. It's fun. It's a fun romp, but it's definitely not fantastic. But what it is a really good representation of exactly what I'm talking about, which is it gives you that feel of, near future technology, and weaponry and things like that. You can imagine like guided bullets, in like small arms, weapons and things like that, and smart bullets and stuff of that nature. So I just get a kick out of that type of
like almost future.
Yeah, it makes it feel a little more believable.
Realistic,
believable.
Yeah.
Like this could be 10, 20, 30 years from now, 40, 50 years from now, still is attainable.
So is
the 41st millennium doesn't feel attainable, So while we can say a humanity among the stars, I like the idea of there's habitation units on the moon, and maybe we've got outposts on Mars.
Yeah.
But that's about as much as we've got. So it takes itself a little more seriously. And
Blackout game. Oh, nice.
BLKOUT, Blackout. Don't spell black, it's BLK.
Yep.
And they've got they've got 2 major forces, maybe 3, and then they've got some mercenary forces for stuff too. I don't know a lot about the game, guys, so I'm not, again, like most of these, when we get involved, we're not really...
We just like cool stuff.
We just like cool stuff. So this is me rule of cooling it. I'm like, these are rad.
Yeah.
I saw my buddy Justin from Death Ray Designs working on some and painting some up, and I was like, these are bitchin'.
Yeah, they are really cool.
And
they
so
kind of like are these like samurai-esque looking? No, those really. Are like, what are those plates?
Just like spaced armor or kinetic plates so that if you get shot in those areas, those kinetic plates burst into shrapnel and absorb the impact rather than you taking the shot. You know, vehicles and stuff have that on them. So takes some real world military application and puts it into cool sci-fi.
Yeah. If for you all just tuning in, we're doing some building before we hop into our January challenge. So stick around. It's gonna be a big one. Jason's gonna go over all of these today, and we're gonna pick some winners.
Winners?
Some winners.
Wieners? Pick a wiener? A question of semantics. Why is it negative if someone is bitching, but if a toy is cool, it can be bitching? Why do you park in a driveway and drive on a parkway?
Dang, that's deep. The chat. Take it or leave it.
Anyone?
We said it out loud right here. Be the first.
That was an old Stephen Wright that always used to blow my mind. Always cut away from your thumb, kiddies.
That's the clip. That's the short today. Cut away from your thumb. 3 seconds.
Exactly as I'm cutting towards my thumb. Always remember to cut away from your thumb, kiddies. I like to stump the viewers. But you just cut towards your thumb. But you were cutting towards your thumb.
Flapjack Nickel Sack. I definitely don't have a driveway.
People say the driveway parkway thing, but I can't call to mind a parkway you've driven on. Sure you can.
I'm right.
You can't? In Connecticut, there is the Merritt Parkway. Right? Like some roads are just called, such and such parkway.
Yeah.
It still exists. It's still a thing. I am not lying to you. It may not be as prevalent anymore because everybody calls everything a road, even though it's a drive or a boulevard or whatever.
Cynical's asking, do you always find it easier to fully assemble things before any painting?
Wow, that's a great question. And this is, I think, a matter of preference more than anything else. I always fully assemble my models.
Like with the bases, too. Typically.
I put them on the base and everything in most cases. There are some models where I might not do that based on shape or, if there's a part that I'm, like wings, that would get in the way of painting and it's a big piece, then I might hold off. But I can't even think of a lot of that where I've done that lately. Like Dante with his wings, we painted and, it was all done at the same time. I, went ahead and attached the wings and did them all on there, I think.
I don't think I've ever seen, I don't think I've seen you sub-assemble.
I don't sub-assemble much.
Unless it's something
like I said,
really
it would be
there.
something very specific. I think on the, what's her name? The female samurai model that I did. I didn't put the katana in her hand because it was such a brittle resin piece that I knew I would bust it off.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So there are times where I'll look at a model and say, oh, yeah, that can't go on there. I will break that. And so I'll do sub-assemblies for that reason. But it's kind of rare.
Yeah.
I prefer to put everything together. I come from a school of thought, I guess, or have developed a school of thought, if you will, that I want the model to be as whole as possible as I'm painting it so that I can judge all of the parts and pieces for where the shadows would be cast. If there's pieces that are sitting off to the side, I don't know how they interact with the model until later.
Yeah, okay.
I want them all on the model so that I can be like, okay, yeah, this arm goes across the chest and forms a shadow, this axe and whatever.
Sure.
So it has to be a pretty good reason for me to not put a piece on. And like I said, it's generally because it would be just completely in the way of something I'm really interested in painting, or if it was brittle and I thought by handling the model while painting I would break, then I won't.
Gotcha. Okay.
Bitchin' is back? What year is it? 1986? James O, if you don't say bitchin', are you even trying? I'm like, that's pretty bitchin'. I'm not like Spicoli, from Fast Times at Ridgemont High or anything. I'm not like, bitchin', dude. I don't go full out with it, but I do like me some bitchin'. When you say it like that, it sounds like I like people griping and complaining, so I don't like that.
Game delay. I wanted to keep my February challenge piece in sub-assemblies, but it was too complicated to put together partway through. Painting some sections may need a corkscrew-shaped brush. Yeah, there are some, especially like those models. Obviously the first one that comes to my mind right now is because I'm building them are the Gargants, because they have like a lot of nets on their stomachs, right? Like rope nets.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, but I'm like, you know what? I just want to build these. So I end up just going for it.
I think you're always better just putting them together.
Just going for it. Put them
together. There's a part of me that is the old kid in me, which when I was a kid, I couldn't stand not having the model finished.
Yeah.
Right?
There's definitely like a build
how silly
phase.
is that? But that's, as a kid, it was like my gratification of the model was having the model be done.
Yeah.
And done, the first part of done was put together, like holy. And I started with scale modeling. Cars, motorcycles, tanks, planes. And my dad at the time was the one who liked building models. And so he was building models and would get me one.
Yep.
And I would put one together while he was putting one together. And even though mine might be like the cheapo monogram, easy one, and he might have the big, like, highly detailed version of it.
Right.
We would do models like that. And I just couldn't wait to put everything together. And he's like, oh, you should probably, before you put the plastic cockpit on, we need to think about painting the inside of the cockpit. And he'd look over and I'd already have the plastic cockpit glued to the plane. And so now the plane's interior is forever gray plastic, because you can't paint what you can't get to.
Yep.
And it's got a big hazy glue thumbprint on the clear plastic, because as a kid handling it, you didn't know to keep your sticky fingers away from the plastic. You just put it on there, and now there's a thumbprint in the, burned into the glass. So I was a horrible person to build models with when I was a kid because of that, because that instant gratification took too long, and I had to have it. Oh, it all has to be together. I'm
the same way. I mean, I play with,
These
all of
models
my
are
Age of Sigmar models, right? I'm gonna build the model and play with it.
Yeah.
Right. But
sorry, chat, but these models are rad.
They're cool. They're very cool. They one piece, man. That's great.
Oh yeah, how great is that? Like, all I have to do is, and most of these I haven't even had to clean anything off of them.
Yeah, it's very, very easy.
The support marks are almost non-existent. There's a couple of supports where there was like one of the little, what do you call it? Solo support areas.
Yeah.
Where I've had to pop them off, but maybe one or two on the 6 guys I've put together so far.
Cynical, is Blackout a game of its own or just a model series?
It is a game of its own.
It's a full game.
I bought the 2-player starter set, which comes with the Task Force Boon that I'm putting together now, along with the UN Task Force. I'll show you the UN Task Force here in a minute. And then 2 heavy duster kits that I got, because I'm a big robot fan, and they have big robots, so I have to have big robots. So Task Force Boon is what I'm assembling.
Yep.
So it comes with 7 dudes and an AI robot, heavy infantry.
Yep.
And then the UN recon group, UN reserves.
Yep.
Also, but it comes with 6 dudes and a heavier bot.
Oh, that's
right.
That's cool.
Right. So this feels, again, it feels very Ghost in the Shell-ish, right?
Yeah.
It's like, your police force, your military police force, and then like a robot that they would send in to take shots first. So I really love that, right? Because I feel like that's modern warfare to me, is that kind of Titanfall aspect where you got dudes still that maybe you have like grav boots or little jetpacks or something, but it's still small arms, hard round, not laser guns. And then you've got robots that you send in first that like bust through the wall and the door to be shock and awe, and then followed up with small arms.
Those like goggles they all have on?
Oh, yeah. They've all got like NVGs and stuff. And then the heavy dusters, which are the bigger kits that come on a 75 mil base. So, it's like this size guy.
Oh, I'm looking at the website right now. These are super.
They're rad. The first time I saw it, I was like, what is that? And anytime that happens when I'm browsing around the internet, it always just gives me that little kid feeling again, that rule of cool. It comes in, I'm like, I got to paint some of those. And then you're like, oh, it's a game. And I'm like, well, that's great. And what's the game like? And then you find out it's like a group of people that loved Infinity. And I used to love Infinity. And they loved Infinity, and Infinity wasn't doing everything they wanted it to do. So they made it a simplified version of Infinity, is the best thing I can tell you. It has a lot going on, but it's meant to play in smaller groups. to play faster.
Yeah.
So, I'm stoked to learn about it, and maybe we'll play a game around here. If not, I'm just going to paint some really bitchin' models. There we go. See?
Yeah.
Bitchin'.
Yeah, they're cool. Super realistic looking too.
Yes. And I think part of the realism is the posing.
Yeah.
Whoever did these sculpts understands, like I said, the actual movement of humans and the way they would do it holding a gun.
Yeah.
These are trained guys running with weapons and firing weapons and holding it at high or low guard, and it feels right. Like if you know about weapon handling and stuff, you've got guys who have. I haven't looked at trigger discipline on the models, but I'm going to assume they're all in active firefights, so trigger discipline is hot.
Yeah.
We're pulling triggers.
Interesting. Oh, actually.
It's a veteran-owned company.
Yeah.
So they've paid some attention to detail, which I'm a big fan of. Once we get all these on the bases, we'll do a zoom in and show it all to you.
They do have trigger discipline.
So yeah,
I'm looking at them right now. A lot of them have the. Oh, maybe I can't see them. Maybe they're cool. Regardless, that's super cool. Super cool. Nice. Well, if you're all just joining in, welcome. We've got the challenge review. This day.
This
I'm sorry.
This
I
day.
might have just had a small stroke, chat. We have challenge review day. Starting around 3, we're building up until then, and then Jason is he's just gonna dive right in. If you're not familiar, January's challenge was all about texture. Show us some texture. Oh.
Yeah, the robots have like a very Titanfall feel to them, right? It's that very near future, like could actually exist, which is part of what made Titanfall feel really cool is that the mechs were not these big nonsense BattleTech kind of things.
Yeah.
Even though a bipedal walker makes no sense in combat, they felt more realistic.
Right.
Which I really enjoy.
Lumberjack, I finally got around to ordering the last 2 texture trainers I needed in Age of Angra. Nice.
Nice. This guy does have trigger discipline, so.
Oh, that's super cool.
Not that I really care about that, but.
What's attention to detail?
It's attention to detail. It shows me the love of what these guys are doing. It carries through to every little bit and piece on here, so I'm a fan.
Lumberjack, hope you enjoy those texture trainers in Age of Angra.
Fantastic, man. You're going to enjoy it. Yeah, Tim, you're going to love painting the texture trainers. They are awesome. The resin they printed these with is nice and soft. It's toolable. I can carve into it and get the pieces cut off. So
yep.
Kudos to them. The prints are fantastic. No brittle feel to them.
Yeah, Dusty Hobbies. The lenses are super cool.
Yeah, all the NVG headgear. All the poses are unique. There are no repeats in this whole squad. So it's 7 unique poses plus the 8 technically, right? Because it's 8 pieces. So it's 8 unique models, which I love when you spend that kind of attention to a unit rather than 6 dudes, which are 3 sculpts, 2 of each.
Yeah.
A lot of games will do that to you. So I like the unique sculpts. It makes everybody feel like you could give these guys a name, and do a little role play with it, which I think is fun. Yeah. Fun. Now let's see if we can figure this guy out. I always like it's always hard when you have multi-piece hip leg models because it's tough to feel like, okay, where am I wanting to position this? Like how much do I want to, how dynamic do I want to make this? I think I want to turn him like that. So we're just going to make guesses as we go. And hope we don't have to pull it apart because it's resin and that will not happen. Have him look a little to the right.
Looks like the rules are
dead. There's dead center, so I'll have him look a little to his left. All right.
I think the rules are free.
Yeah, the rules are free. They come in a neat little flip book.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Super cool. Good stuff.
All right. I know I have upper.
Relax Studios. Hey Jay, thank you for all of these tutorials you're putting out.
Hell yeah. Love
I'm
it.
glad you're liking those. That's awesome.
Love it. We've been getting fantastic feedback from the community on all of the excerpts from stream. I'm really happy. You know, we love to have fun on the stream. We'll continue to do so, but I really like being able to dig in and you know, make sure that we teach you something too, right?
Yep.
Because it's very crucial for me that if you come and spend time here, that you leave feeling that it was worth your time.
Exactly.
All right, now I got to figure this out because there's no instructions on all this. So I got to try to, okay, that's a lower leg. That's a lower leg. There's some sort of a knee piece.
Is that duster? Is that the duster?
Yeah, this is the duster.
I'm going to see if they have, I'm just curious.
I think it's this thing. I think these are the knee things. These things would go in here, I guess. Oh, yeah. But how?
Let's see.
Forward like that. And then these. Like so. Or like that. No, it'd be like this.
Let's see. These dusters.
They have kind of like chicken legs. So it goes like that.
Uh-huh.
Right? These multi-piece chicken legs and then a foot. Boy, they didn't make this easy on you. It gives you some flexibility on posing, but boy, you better love model building this way. I got it figured out. Now I got to mock it up. That's the hard part. Is like holding 8 pieces together as I figure out how this all is going to work.
Right.
Right. So he's got, normally the legs are kind of like that, maybe. We're just going to figure it out. We're just going to start gluing stuff together. I'm brave and stupid. Brave and stupid.
Is that
stupid?
One,
That's all
is
you
that
need
the one
right
with
now.
the swords?
Huh? They have some that have swords. This
Yeah.
guy has an axe that you can build him with.
Wad. Wait a minute. Did you sneak learning into my tomfoolery and fart jokes?
Yes.
Is this
Yes.
edutainment?
And you have nothing you can say about it. This is just the way it's going to work, Wad. Tomfoolery, fart jokes, and education.
Oh, here's a question. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. What is the recommended way to store paint? Some of my paints are losing moisture and turning into more chalky consistency.
What kind of paints, right? Because storing should just be in your house at room temperature.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't ever be a question. If you get like weird temperature fluctuations in your home, then you might have to think about, you know, keeping it in you know, more air conditioned focus or something like that. I think that works.
I think that's how it goes.
It's a chicken leg.
Do you need me to find a picture?
No, it's fine.
No,
I'm building it this way, and I don't care because I'm my own boss.
That was a test, and you passed, Jason.
I don't care
We
what
don't
they
need
say.
no stinking
I
pictures.
don't need no stinking pictures. I can figure it out on my own.
That's funny. So store your paints room temperature.
Yeah, room temperature. You shouldn't have to deal with much more than that. That's just the honest answer. Should you? I know. Are these feet different? Oh, I got to look at this. Are the feet symmetrical? Like, are they left and right independent, or are these different?
Oh my. No, those look the same to me.
Do they?
Kind of. Well, that ball joint looks the same. Or
They look kind of the same, but I don't know. Yeah, they kind of look exactly the same. Like normally you would have like one that's canted one way and one that's canted the other, maybe. They are kind of, can't tell if that's just a, does this move? No. I'm going to say that's the left and this is the right. All right, so now we got to figure this part out. We got to put it on the base and adjust where the body would want to be.
Okay, I see.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a rather tall model.
Oh, yeah, by far. He's a big chonky boy. That's like, again, that's what got me into this. I was like, ooh, big beefy mech.
Jason loves his robots.
I'm in. Big beefy chonky boy. Let's make it to where he's like maybe,
but not so much into Gundam.
Not
thematically, I would say.
Not a whole lot. I don't hate him.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just not. They don't speak to me the way they do other people.
Yeah.
Okay, that gives him a little bit of a lean forward. I like that. That'll work.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The main ones I'm having problems with right now are transparent whites and warm yellows. Or in warm yellow.
Transparent white can get goopy on you because of the zinc in transparent. The warm yellow should not have a problem. Are you making sure that you've closed it?
Don't leave.
If you're having a problem with transparent white, you can contact support, and they can get you a new one. But because it has zinc in it, does not have the longest shelf life of our paints. Just going to be flat out honest with you. Transparent white can give you problems over time.
Plus, don't keep them in the garage. I learned that the hard way too. That is not room temperature.
Yeah, your garage will not be room temperature for maybe once a day.
Yeah.
Here I'm just guessing.
I think you've got it though.
I mean, I'm just guessing on position. Like what's going to work and what won't work. Because I can change the leg arrangement a little bit, make them taller or not. Probably want this leg maybe back a little bit more. I don't know, chat. We're just going to start gluing stuff together.
Flapjack is asking, is there a way to keep transparent white from going bad outside of just using all of it?
No, the zinc is the thing, right? Because we use zinc in it, and the zinc pigment itself does not have a long shelf life.
Yeah.
No matter how you use it, that's just zinc pigment. So the zinc makes it very difficult to use. So we say from the get-go that it has a lower shelf life.
Kurdish Panda, don't eat the paint or use them as medications. Wad, wait, isn't transparent white good for fighting off colds? No. Seek real medical attention.
Yes. Yes.
We're saying that to the public right now.
Wrong zinc.
You know what?
It's not methylated.
Our paints do cure the side effects of frustrating paint experiences, though. So there you go.
Look, I did it.
There it is. It's standing.
I did it. And the feet are not in a line.
Okay.
Which is nice.
All right.
It's almost like I've been doing this a while.
You know what's going on.
Sometimes. Usually I don't really. I just pretend like I do. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
If you're all just tuning in, welcome. We're building some Blackout models before we do the challenge review in about 10 minutes. So get ready, because it's Judgment Day.
I like that it stands. I bet people have problems with that.
It stands.
Notice what I did there, though, is I'm always using the base as the place to set it up. Don't try to set it up like on your desktop or something. Have it to where it's, on the base and build to the stability of it on the base with the feet sitting flat or, however you need them to sit to get your positioning the way you want it.
Wad, is the paint going potentially bad, in quotes, only an issue once the seal is broken?
With zinc, no. With zinc, it's just an issue with the actual pigmentation getting goopy over time.
Yeah. Easy peasy. But I may need to also revisit my storage as the shelf.
That's the only color that does that, and it will do that quicker under varying temperatures. So it's very important to not leave that in your car, leave it in the garage, storing it in a closet. Keep it out where you live, where you're adjusting the temperature to what we call room temperature, not in a closet, not in an area that gets its temperature set and stays that way or gets cold at night because you're not going to have the heat on in there or whatever. So,
yeah. Easy peasy. I leave the shelf close to the window and heater and keep a more consistent area. Yeah, that might do it.
This guy's bitching.
That's cool. What kind of weapon is he gonna put on?
I don't know, man. We've got like arms that have like, there's one that has an axe. I kind of like the hatchet.
Ooh.
But like, I don't know anything about this game. So if I want to play the game, I guess I probably ought to model it right. We've got one called a topor. The topor has a 30 millimeter cannon, which is on the torso. They both have that, and then a medium machine gun, right? So they have an MMG in the hand. That's this thing. So he has a MMG.
Oh, nice.
Right, a machine gun hand. And then the Mattis has a 30 millimeter cannon and an axe.
Nice.
And the Mattis jumps, which I like. Oof, a 30 millimeter cannon and a close combat weapon. Seems really good. But you know what? Since I have all the parts, I'm going to model it with a close combat weapon and a medium machine gun, and that way I can play it however I want.
That's how it goes.
Mama didn't raise no fool. I mean, she probably did, but...
General question, and this one is from Skinner.
Maybe I don't have an axe.
Have you made... Okay, 1 second. Have you made, and do you have any tips for modeling larger multi-part models like Knights or even Titans?
I have made quite a few. What are you asking? You're like, how do I go about posing them and such?
Yeah, do you...
Hang on a second. I got it. Hold that thought. I'm going to go grab the other pieces.
All by myself. All by myself. What? All right, chat. This is my time to claim. And I've gone quiet. Wow, right here. All by myself. Source, don't quit my day job. You're fired. You're fired, Source. You're done. The Source show's over.
Chris, I think you lost some parts.
I did? No, I didn't. I just moved the boxes. I didn't lose no parts.
But the parts were all...
I didn't move nothing. It wasn't me.
Chris lost the parts.
I didn't lose anything.
Chat, he lost...
I literally just took... I did not lose anything, chat.
There's an axe hand.
I didn't see an axe hand.
Well, there was one. Because this kit hasn't been opened. And I had the axe hand.
No, Jason, I would have.
Here we go, chat. Here we go.
No.
Christopher,
you have drilled that into my brain. I would have seen that.
He's lost the most crucial part of parts that we had. He's misplaced the part. I found it. He put it in the wrong box.
No, I didn't. I didn't put it in the box. It wasn't me, chat. All right, I'm getting it from all directions. All right, everybody, let's start over. Let's start over. Quick question, start reading the script for Cool Runnings. No, I will not.
We got to go back to building the Titans.
Yes.
And the Knights. So what's the question, like how to pose them?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more explanation there, Skinner. Yeah, how do you pose them with a number of parts that are included in the kit? Would you start from the feet and move up, torso down, or a mixture of both?
I typically do what you kind of saw me do here, which is torso down. So you don't have to, but I tend to think in terms of like how you would move. And so a lot of times I'll pose. We built a Knight recently where I was sitting here on camera doing the lunge that I wanted. I wanted it to be lunging forward, throwing a shoulder forward.
Yeah.
So I had to think about, okay, how does your torso turn on your hips with relation to your feet if you're going to move your body that way? So when you're running, right, you can kind of, it seems funny and you'll laugh at yourself as you do it, but if you sit there and you kind of make the motion, like if you're going to have it punching, make the pose of punching and then just kind of, look at your body and see how your legs are. Look down and see, okay, well, if I'm punching with my right, You know, am I stepping forward with my right? You know, am I stepping forward with my left? Because you should be stepping forward if you're punching with the leg that on the side that you're punching with and snap at that last minute, but that's hard to model. So just kind of get that feel of motion that you want and look at your body. You know, have somebody take a picture of you in the pose you want and then use that as a reference to pose the model, right? So you get that recognizable, believable flow of motion on things like knights that are humanoid. That's the biggest way. And I generally start with the hip module, just like I did on this guy.
Yeah.
We glued the torso to the hips, and I chose the direction I wanted him turned because it's going to be more dynamic if you don't keep the hips and shoulders in line. If you keep the hips and shoulders in line, meaning that the hips are facing straight forward and the shoulders are facing straight forward, it's going to be a very boring model. It's going to be very rigid, right? So I tend to take the torso on knights and want to bend it down a little bit on the hips. So it gives it some motion and some hunkering, like it has weight up top, and then twist it to one side or the other. Because I can always twist it about 10, 15 degrees to one side or the other, right? Maybe even 45, depending on how drastic you want to get, and then twist the head back, right? So that I can, you know, here, let me look at the camera, right? So if I'm like this, and I want to turn the torso and then move the head back, now all of a sudden I have a way more dynamic pose than if I'm like this, right?
Huh. Yeah.
And because the hips are still facing forward. You can't see my hips, but my hips are still facing forward. And then I can make one leg, like this leg, go forward, this leg go back, right? And then if you have one leg back, that arm on that side should be the opposite direction if you're moving. So if my right leg's back, my right arm has to go a little bit forward. If my left leg is forward, my left arm has to go a little bit back. That gives range of motion to it and puts it in action, which I really love. I don't like things that are just standing still. A lot of knights are legs spread. If you remember the original knight model that GW came out with, its legs were not posable. You glued the hips and leg together, and it was in one direction. And you could turn the torso on that, but the legs were always this kind of trapezoid shape, and you couldn't bust them apart and move them and bend the knees and stuff. Now they're more articulated. So that's the way I start.
Nice.
Start torso to hips and get that motion going and angle, and then do the legs either forward or back if you want it running or squatting. You know, like that's why I did on this guy. I put one leg forward.
Oh, sorry.
Right? I put one leg forward, even though they have the knight-style chicken legs, right?
Right.
I could have made this leg, like lifted it at the hip up to it stepping on something, but I don't have that something figured out. So I just put it like this, to where it's literally just one leg's a little bit forward from the other one along the hip line, and he's looking off to his left a little bit, right? So it gives you a little bit of motion, like he's turning to look over to something to his left and maybe lurching forward. Like maybe he's just taken a step and put his weight on this foot right here, right? And leaning around like there's a corner of a building here or something.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it's about 3:00, Jason.
What?
Are you ready?
No, but yes.
You want to take some more time?
No.
It's up to you.
Let's do it.
We have a January challenge.
I got to go sit over here, right?
Yep. Do my
I have to go over here.
Yep, I'm going to start the slideshow. Oh, other chair.
What?
Other chair.
I don't want to sit in the other chair.
You have to.
This has the nice comfy chair.
Oh, you can just switch the chair. Switch the chair. Actually, the chair you're about to sit in is a lot more comfortable.
Chris is a liar. He wants the comfy
Oh,
chair.
let me change your angle a little bit, too.
He wanted the comfy chair.
And no, I'm not sitting.
You're not joining me?
No. I'm running the computer.
I have to do this alone?
No, it's going to be right there. All right. Oh.
Chat. I don't know. I don't ever know what to do or how to act here. It's like, it's such a drama.
Such a drama.
Such a drama. The life I live.
Say that one more time. He said that's the drama.
It's such a drama. The life I live here at Monument Hobbies, the pain I endure. It's so hard for me.
Oh my goodness.
That was laying it on thick right there.
Yes, last month I did, but the problem was, Chad, is that I haven't.
What the?
Who is that? Oh, it's Jen.
That was really loud.
We were ready.
That was weird.
Oh.
Okay. All right, bye.
You're going to Gamers Guild?
Say hi, Jen. Bye, Jen.
Bye, Jen.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't talked to them about going.
Everybody say hi to Jen.
And Poppy. It's the monument mascot, Poppy. We call her Shrimp.
We call her Shrimp.
So it's Shrimp. I'll send you a text once we're done.
Bye, Jen. Hi, Jen.
Everybody says hi, Jed, or bye, Jed.
All right, everybody.
Okay, wait a minute. I have to get rid of these fools that like to let their chairs recline.
These dang fools. Welcome in, everybody.
Hi.
This is the January Discord
I'm over here now.
challenge.
I moved
You did.
to this spot. This chair is actually kind of comfy.
It is. It's nice.
I'm not going to lie.
It's not bad.
It's not horrible. It's kind of comfy.
Yeah, it's not
Hi,
bad.
bye, Jen and Poppy. Poppy has become like the funniest dog.
Why is that?
We rescued her the week of Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, I say, she came to our office and demanded to be rescued. So now she's our dog. And she has turned Cora into a totally different dog because now Cora loves having a sister.
Yeah.
They play. Unfortunately, Cora's 65 pounds and Poppy is like 6. So there's a little disparity there with how they treat one another. It's a little rough around the edges because Cora can destroy her.
Yeah.
But they love playing, and Poppy stands up on her back legs and boxes her in the face. It's hilarious. Poppy thinks she's bigger than she is, and Cora thinks she's much smaller than she is, so it kind of works out.
Nice.
And Poppy follows Cora around and does whatever Cora does. So if they go outside and Cora pees, Poppy goes and smells where Cora peed and then pees on the same spot. And it's just funny watching them. But Poppy will come in and jump on my head in the morning after Mom takes him out, and then Mom goes to take a shower or whatever. Poppy will come jump up in bed and jump on my head and drapes her belly across my forehead and starts licking my ear. It's hilarious.
All right.
Hilarious.
There we go. A little more zoomed in for Jason. All right, here we go. January Discord challenge texture. You ready, Jason?
He's forcing us to do this.
Next one.
You see how I'm treated, chat? I'm trying to tell a fun story about my lovable dog, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh.
Hey, we are here for the January challenge.
Red Zyphos.
Nice.
I'm liking it. Chris, is there a way to get this larger on my screen?
Yeah, let me test that. Potentially.
Can you pull the...
Yes. Kind of. One moment, chat. I have it set in a way.
Can you
Where?
lower the window on the bottom there? Can you just click the down arrow on the bottom over to the left? No, to the left.
To the left.
Where I think it collapses that whole bottom panel. No. See that on the interface right there? Can you do that? Can you not move that and have it go away?
No, that's what I...
That bottom control panel can't go away?
Yeah, let me give me 1 second here.
Maybe, is there a view? Go to view full screen, maybe?
Maybe full screen.
Momento, chat.
Oh. No. 1 moment. Boo, 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 boo. No, give me a moment.
Can you do multi-view? What is that?
Let's see.
Multi-view windowed? Like that?
No.
Yeah, that one.
You want this one?
Oh, no. Can you choose that one? The program? And just, will the multi-view set up on and show me just the program window?
I don't know.
No,
Hold
full
on
screen that one
once.
again.
Yeah.
And then hit the top right. Does that not let you?
No, it doesn't
look at
let me
it?
click anything.
Okay, never mind.
It has my scenes in it. But actually,
That doesn't do me any good.
I might be able to do this.
Sorry, chat.
Hold on, chat.
I don't have a good visual on my end, so.
1 second. Actually, hold on. It's because I'm on a 1080p screen, so I'm kind of limited with my bowl out.
Nah, just close that. That's smaller than it is already anyway. All right, we'll work with this.
Okay.
I will lean in. I like what I'm seeing here. I would like to be able to talk about the texture that I'm supposed to be seeing. I see in the coat or the cape here, right?
Uh-huh.
So the fabrics are really nice. I like the white in the cape with the kind of brown underneath, and it gives me kind of a splotchy look. So I get like a worn leather fabric type thing.
Yep.
So all the materials here really jump out nice. I like the use of color. The kind of bluish steel for the armor is really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, great job on this. This model's crazy.
It's dope.
Just to start off, is this the librarian? I'm going to call this model the librarian.
This is it looks like an Elden Ring kind of
It's
character.
nuts, right? It's like arms and legs where arms and legs shouldn't be, and books. And books. So the skin on this looks to be gold. right? Or some form of bronze,
Yeah.
right? Which I dig the metallic. Yeah, that helps a lot. As long as it's not. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Texturing, I'm missing some texture on this one. The highlights and stuff on the robe with the blue from Hemlock here, the model itself is really rad. The way that the highlighting on the blue is done is more like a hard edge highlight, which brings kind of a shine to it, almost like if it was satin, rather than a texture. I think by instead of going for like a smooth blue finish, using that sky blue kind of color that you've done the edge highlighting with, and instead of doing a complete edge with it, chop that edge, do the deets and doots that we talk about, use almost a hatching, like instead of doing a line across an edge, do a lot of small perpendicular brush strokes to the edge that create the same brightness along the edge, but all of those spots of brightness are divided. You do some close and some far away and perpendicular. So if I have an edge running like this and I'm doing fabric, do kind of a hash, do your strokes, your brush strokes across the edge. Normally you would highlight the edge along it like this, but do it like this. Use your brush like this and kind of in those flicking hash marks, because what you'll get is you'll get little tiny stripes of color along that edge, right? That will then give it a texture that feels like thread or rough, wool. Yeah, that would help out a lot here. But I love the concept on this. It's really cool. It makes me want to know more about the model, just the model itself.
Like the books here too.
Yeah. And the wood with the kind of like rough dry brush on it gives it a texture, which is cool. So like the tree trunks in the back look really neat.
Hemlock, if you're in here, definitely great job.
Yeah, great job. I love the gold skin, just the coloring on it. I don't know if this is a character from something I should recognize, but I love the use of color here. Noise.
Ooh, second entry.
Red Zyphos with 2.
This looks great.
Yeah, I love the wooden chair is the thing that jumps out to me. Really, really nice. The use again of texture on the fabrics. I think I'd like to see a little bit more on this one, kind of like what I was just saying, using a little bit more of a hatching brushstroke for the fabric. You can see a little bit down in his lap.
Yeah.
Right on his left thigh, and that's really great. The skin is great. I really love the cape and the hem of the cape there on the inside. If that's free-handed, that's awesome. Or if that's textured on the model, I really like kind of the runic look to that.
Yeah.
Is really bitchin'. One thing I will note, not part of the challenge, but all of your golds, it might just be there's a little bit of extreme exposure on the photo itself. It's a little bright. So forgive me. Always understand that when I'm commenting on these photos, I can only comment on the photo as I see it. Some of these things might not be true at your end when you're holding it. So take them with a grain of salt if you look at the model and you say, I don't know what he's talking about. It looks fine to me. Sometimes the camera exposure and light will cause me to see things that aren't really there.
Yeah.
On this one, all of the golds, even the fabric, the trim around the collar, which looks more like fur, all of those golds being the same color scheme, using the same color for them, makes it a little awkward. I know that's not part of the challenge, but just giving you some pointers is that the gold chalice, the gold trim, the gold buttons, the gold crown all seem to use the same color palette. Be careful with that. Even if you want gold fur trim around the collar and gold fabric, gold thread in the fabric, try to switch the colors of yellow up a little bit on each of those, or drop the orange on one of them and not use it. Switch it for a dark brown on like the fur collar, so that all of your golds have a spot of the same hue of yellow, but are not the exact same trio or 4 or 5 colors that you use to paint gold, because it will make everybody think it's all the same material, and visually it's not. So just be careful with that. Great work on this guy, though. The skin is fantastic. I love his beard. Great job.
Chat. Collar is all painted texture.
Great job. Great job. It's awesome. Yeah, the texture on that is great. Oh, so the collar texture is all painted as well?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not sculpted to be like fur?
No.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that
great
came
job.
out great, Red.
Great job. Yeah, I love it. The texturing that you got from the cape hem is fantastic, right? Because it looks almost like runic stone or whatever there, not along the collar, the hem there. Yeah, if all that's painted on there too, that's a great way to do a freehand design that brings texture onto what would have possibly been a smooth surface. So great job on all this.
Ryan, nice.
Ooh,
This is great.
yeah. So this looks really, really good. I want to know more about this sculpt because the white makeup on the face, the texture in that's almost got that rough, dry makeup texture. I want to know if that's on the sculpt or if you did that, with some form of material texture, because that's great. The fact that the makeup looks like dried makeup and something that's on the surface and not that he has white skin. Great job there.
That cakey circus makeup.
Yep, same thing on the sculpt for the lapel of the jacket. It has a really worn fabric texture to it that looks visual. It looks like it's a material on there, so it's either part of the sculpt or you have placed a material on there, which I like.
Nice. That one came. That love this one.
Yeah. One thing I would say is when you're doing the buttons on the shirt and on the vest, find a way to bring more material focus in through highlight on the buttons than on the shirt itself. If you look at the collar of the shirt and then look at the button, they're both highlighted the same, so they look like they're the same material. You can drop the highlight level on the shirt itself so that it's not as bright of a highlight along the collar. That'll make it look a little duller, a little more soft fabric, and then do the harsh highlight on the button, which makes it look like, the hard plastic that it would be, or metal buttons, whatever they wind up being. And then same on the yellow vest. The yellow highlights to the same level on the vest as it does on the buttons, but those are a soft and a hard material. So put a brighter highlight on hard materials where they have more of a reflective surface, and less of a bright highlight on the cloth. That immediately pulls material apart and is part of texturing and what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Great job on this. Fantastic coloring and everything.
Yeah, I love how the hair came out too.
Yeah, the satiny color on the shirt collar looks great. If you're going to do that and you want it to feel like a satin shirt, then you're going to then have to amplify the button. And also remember, go look at all of your shirts. When you have, I'm wearing a black shirt and the black of the button is different than the black of the shirt. The cloth will look more gray. The button will look glossy black. So you can do that too. You can change the color of the button to make it look like a different material as well. I try to, like we talked about with the gold on the previous one, make sure that the yellow on the button is not the same as the yellow combination of the cloth, because even if you use the same pigment on those, the material will soak up the pigment differently and they will look differently in the end.
I think, Ryan, if that's you in the chat, the 0306030067.
Fantastic job.
The texture, yeah. Nice.
Painted the texture on the face. Fantastic job to get that makeup looking like that. That's grade A stuff. Love it. Ooh.
Tech Elf. Ooh.
Okay, Tech.
How big is this? It's almost like an optical illusion. I think it's on a.
It feels like it's on like a base size thing.
It does. It almost looks like it's on a Lazy Susan. But
maybe so. Yeah.
I don't know if
it's on a turntable. It could be really big.
I don't know if it's that big.
It's neat.
It's cool.
Okay, so on the skull, all of that texturing is fantastic. Very, very cool with the brush strokes overlapping. Not just using the cracks in the skull to give the feeling of bone, but the texturing feels like that kind of like if you found a cow skull laid out in the sun for a long time, it gives that kind of rough nature to it.
Yeah.
Which I really, really dig. And then the metallic on the base looks fantastic too. Great job there. Again, utilizing those brush strokes to give it that scritchy look.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks worn, beaten, well used.
I just don't know how big it is. It's I keep looking at it. I'm like, well, I think
it's impressive at any scale. It's nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay.
You once found bones in the yard and they looked a lot like this? Yeah, exactly, right? Can we get a banana for scale? No, you cannot.
Zombie.
Yeah, if it were bleached bone in the sun, it would be a little bit brighter, but I really like that. I like that. Fantastic job on the hair on this one. And the fact that there is a Monument Cup winner.
Oh, Cannibal.
It's the details that make it work. This is buying favor. That's what this is called.
Oh.
Purchasing favor, and he has made a tremendous
I love the eyes
purchase.
too.
I love it. Yeah, great job. The shine on the eyes is good. Again, all of these things are what we consider to be texturing, because remember, when we think the word texture, we think that it has to have something rough or scratchy to it, because we talk about that. Like I paint with a lot of texture. I paint with a lot of heavy brush strokes, not heavy, but not smooth blended stuff. And so I have texture that shows. But smooth blending is also a texture. Remember that a metal sphere that's nice and smooth has a texture all its own. Yeah. So texturing is not just the rough stuff. It's inclusive of every texture, from smooth to rough and everything in between. And so the glossiness of the eye, you create that texture by putting that shine on there. There's some really good depth in the green of the irises, right? So I feel like that eye is not a flat surface. Yeah. I feel like it has a lens that I'm seeing through. It's giving me the wet look of an eye. I love it. The freckles, while maybe not giving a texture per se, they do give a visual texture that makes the skin more realistic in that regard, right? The hair, the way the individual hairs have been painted. Look at the back of the head there, and look at those wispy little hairs that are not sculpted on there up towards the top middle, right? Also, great bravery in the coloring on the hair. The fact that you've got that kind of jade-ish color, greens, yellows, a little bit of magenta-y, dark plum kind of coloring in the hair is fantastic. Yeah, great job on that kind of brunette. Dirty blonde hair.
The texture on the sweater is really good.
I'm not crying. You're crying. Fantastic work on this model. The texture on the sweater is fantastic. This is that cozy model, and it just is something where you can go wild with it, right? So just a great job.
Molinar.
Oh, I like this too. I feel like I'm supposed to know what this is. It's like badass Smurfette.
It's almost like it looks like a Hobbit door background,
kinda,
but also the pond is really cool.
Yeah, kind of.
I like the ripples in the pond for sure.
The character's like one of those super dungeon explorer kind of things.
Yeah.
I dig it. I like this a lot. Great job. I like, this model has a lot of texture going on with it already. The water, you kept the ripples of the water looking nice. I like that. The greens with the splotchy green of the moss on the roof and the grass and everything looks good. I love the way that the base she's standing on looks like it has some mossy stuff going on with it. So this is more of a creating texture by painting more different materials on those surfaces, which I think is good. I think that, again, kind of varying your brush stroke will help out a lot, so that even though you see like the wood beam across the top of the roof there, you can take the sculpted grain in that wood and just follow it with color. You can also, within that, like we saw in the hair on the cozy model before, use some of your brush stroke to create more grain within the grain. Because, of course, on something like this, the wood grain is over amplified, big, chunky, like Target's toy, action figure style chunky, and you can create some finer detail in there with brushstroke that would then really bring it to life. I like this though. I like the little cat tails coming out of the water. That's fun. Ooh, this is a neat model.
A lot of cool textures in this one.
Yeah, I like how going from what I'll call the more like vegetable side. Go with the vegetable side.
The vegetable.
She's very
side.
plant-like on the one side of the body, but I love the veining you've created, the texturing that moves from like the breast line over to the right breast and across the collarbone, where you've taken that color. Kind of when we painted the Shinobi, we did that demonic arm and painted that veining. That creates a texture of its own, right? Even though if it's like subdermal, right? It's like this green chlorophyll, or I'm imagining as I'm looking at this, kind of getting into the blood vessels and taking over the other half of the body. Really great job there.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, neat.
I like the
great idea.
I love the green too.
Yeah. Neat model. Very interesting. Oh my gosh. It burns!
I'm on fire!
Holy hell, it burns! Great job on this. The first texture that I'm really seeing that it's looking really great is on the stone pillars. I've got that glow of the fire, that orangey yellow glow coming through the middle of the archway, but then you can really see the texture and that kind of granite marbly look of the stone. Works really well. So that just random brush patterning that you've done is fantastic.
This story on this one is very unique. Like, how did this little tree stump guy get him into this situation?
You definitely want to know more. The model itself just creates a story. But yeah, I love it. Great job. Again, on the wood of this little tree stump guy, don't just follow the built-in sculpted texture. You can use a lot more of your individual brushstrokes, which it looks like you have, like up around the forehead area. It looks like you've created more texture than was on the model. It looks like it may have been more smooth than you did it. So great job on that. Go with a little more depth, a little more coloration there, especially when you're doing something like fire on the backside and lighting it up. Bring that color around on the front to help out so it's not quite as dark. But great job. This is a fun model. You guys are picking some amazing models. I really like these.
Paint liquor. Ooh, paint liquor.
Paint liquor, I'm going to need you to get good.
Paint liquor. This is great.
Paint liquor, killing it. Man, I really like this. Am I seeing, okay, what I'm seeing here is some really cool, like Frankenstein style stitched skin across his front, right? Because it goes up to his lower jaw, right?
And then it goes all the way around, it looks like.
Yeah, I really, really dig the fact that those are not only painted different colors, but there is a little bit different texturing on the skin on that front piece. It's like sewn or grafted onto him. Really, really cool there. The skulls have got a really nice splotchy, almost like sponged paint feel that makes it, again, look like that dried bone, which I really dig. Obviously, some weathering and texture that's caused you like the little rust on the rivets.
Yeah.
And the texturing on the metal that makes it look really good. The sword and the gold on the sword. I like the way you've done the reflections and the tarnish, kind of almost verdigris on that. Again, a lot of good use of color to create the idea of texture, because the verdigris, we can get a feel for kind of the mossy, tarnished, rougher nature of the metal there. And then same on the bone and everything. Great job. Oh, I love this model.
Ryan.
We get this model like almost every, if not every other
classic
deal. It's such a great model.
Yep. Ooh, the eye really pops out to me here.
The eye, I really like the sclera color on it. It's got like a peachy, fleshy tone to the sclera into that really electric blue. The texturing of the iris is amazing. I really like that. It gives me that threaded iris feel. Really cool. I like how you've used the quick brush strokes across the gums. This model's really fun because it has very pronounced gum line. And using that and give me some texture there, I think is really cool. Yep. I feel like there's probably more texture in the teeth than the photo is showing us. But yeah, all the eyes are great. Great job on this. Ooh.
Skinner.
I'm digging this.
On this.
I'm digging this. I really like the armor. Right? I love the scritches on the armor. I think I would tone the highlight of the scratches down just a little bit, vary them a little bit more because it's a little pronounced. Maybe instead of one big thick line in some of those panels, do a lot of little lines that run into kind of like one larger brightness area. But I really like the idea of this, right? It gives it that battle-worn. Don't be afraid to let some of those scratches run across edges, right? Remember that they won't always be in the center of the panel. They'll run across from a whole edge and then stop and then pick up on the other edge where there was a dip. You can imagine like something swiping across.
Yeah.
And have like one that goes across multiple panels.
Yep.
I really dig this. And I really like I get the feel of almost like the gorget and the upper area being almost like bone. Right? Not just from coloring, but because of the texturing you've used there that is different from the texture on the actual, like what I would imagine as hardened leather on the red, right? Because you've done such a great job with the non-metallic on the eyelets and the belt buckle. So I'm assuming everything else, because of the way you've painted and highlighted, that the texturing on everything else gives me a more fabric. And then you get to the bone. The only thing that makes it maybe not feel like bone is it should probably highlight a little bit brighter along the edges since it's a hard surface. It's, when we look at material on a model, if you look at one that's like cloth and it goes from a particular level of darkness to a particular level of brightness, regardless of color. So you've got, like, let's call this red leather. It may not be the idea of the painter, right? So Skinner may have thought it was metal or whatever you think. But I'm going to go with hardened leather, right? So if I go from that level of darkness to that level of brightness, then I look at things next to it, and they go from a similar level of darkness to a similar level of brightness, even though they're another color. Like the bone goes to about the same level of intensity of the kind of bonish yellow khaki color as the red goes to red, right? Then they tend to look like the same type of material hardness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As a material gets harder, the more it will reflect. So metal, glass, diamond, You know, the things that we think of as being the hardest materials will have the most reflection to them unless some type of surface treatment has been done that makes them matte. You know, because we paint metal matte black and it doesn't have the same reflectiveness, but assuming they're in their raw state, the harder the material, the more reflective it will become. Leather can be more reflective, meaning that it's painted or dyed in a color and glossed. You can imagine like the leather having a gloss varnish on it. I really like this, though. I like the use of color here. Looks really good.
Great. Okran,
this is crazy.
Oh, those are like little. Oh, okay.
I'm assuming they're supposed to be like floating since it's using clear plastic.
That's kind of cool. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is This is like a zombie beholder.
It's like or a skeleton zombie beholder.
It's very
That's
strange.
what they're called, right? Beholders. But I can see the.
Well, I think they have lots of names for them now because it wasn't enough to just have a beholder. They had to have 50 names with 50 different types. I like this a lot. Yeah. Again, I really dig the one of the first things as I look around that jumps out at me is the really raunchy teeth. Mm-hmm. That around the root level of the teeth, I've got that texturing going on where I'm pulling that dark color down that makes it look like the enamel of the tooth is only existent on the tips now. Yeah. And as we get up towards the gum line, it's just raw.
Yeah, no,
I
like the clear plastic with it of like, you know, it floating, which is cool.
Yeah, and then the use of the rough brush strokes on the bone and everything gives it a really good texture too. I like it.
Nice. Great job, Okran. Whole skull was smooth. Oh, nice. The whole skull was smooth. Very cool.
Wait a minute. So like the brainy looking texture at the top, did you paint all of that or is that in the sculpt?
Okran, the whole skull was smooth. Oh, that's really great.
Game delays like Beholder, hardly even Skinner.
Yeah. Around the face is sculpted, but the brainy texture is painted.
Fantastic. I really like that. It has
fooled
like that
me.
gray matter kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, it definitely fooled me. Nice.
Very, very cool. Yeah, definitely. If we're sitting here looking at something and not calling attention to some part that you did that looks like it's part of the model, you are doing what we're asking you to do. That looks like it's sculpted texture on the top where it gives me that kind of brainy gray matter feel. So great job on that. Again, using a more freehand design style to create the illusion of three-dimensional texture on the model. Fantastic.
Nice.
Great work. Oh, this is a good model, too. I love this bust.
Ooh.
Nice gritty job on the skin. Everything here has a really good feel of the grim
love
dark.
That lens. That lens is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, again, great job, right? I've got smooth texturing on the lens, that glassy lens, whereas the skin looks tougher. The metal, obviously, with the patches of rusty kind of film is really nice.
Photo.
The leather's got a good texture, that beaten edge on the leather straps along the chest.
Like Cannibal said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, the texture on the lips. Yeah, great job here.
That's
the weathering of that top where you got the wah hand painted on there is nice.
Yeah. It's great.
Awesome stuff. And a fun model, too.
Ooh. This one's dope.
Turtles.
This is dope.
Yeah, great stuff.
Why
the dot texture for the skin tone is really neat. The kind of smooth blending on the skin is neat, and using the brightness and contrast of the color to pull out the folds in the neck and such. I really dig that. The rough kind of bony texture again of the chitin on the chest is really cool. I like it.
I love the dots and like the spots.
Yep.
Those came out great.
Well, and the stippling on the band on the what are we gonna call that? I said bandana, the mask.
Yeah, the mask.
Right, using the stippling and the deets and doots to pull out some fabric texture on that versus the others. Because one of the things is that with each of the different parts of your model that you're trying to pull into focus, you need to find, in some cases, a different brush style to use to separate those textures apart. You can't just use color and the same brushstroke. You can't just do cross-hatching on every part of the model because then all of the things look the same material. And these are not. We've got turtle skin, which while it may be rough and more elephant-like, lizard-like, then you've got the chitin, which would be harder and bony. So you might use texturing on that that's different than the skin to make both look rough and rigid. And then you've got the kind of dot patterning that you've done on the mask that I think is great.
The
Good job.
the shell came out great as well.
Yeah, the shell texturing on that is great. Good use of brushstroke. This is just rad because of the glow in the window.
Yeah,
or whatever
the
that
window's
is.
cool.
Or
The
whatever
flooring
it
is
is.
really cool.
Molinar is, yeah, I'm assuming all that floor is smooth and you've painted all this?
Yeah, I'm assuming too.
I really dig the bamboo flooring.
I like the reflection we got going on in this too, in the photo. It's kind of
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
The midnight star.
Like on a piece of glass.
I can appreciate the little background too. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, neat deal.
The
Yeah, I really like the
flooring's
floor. The painting on the floor and then the shimmer in the wings is amazing.
dope. Yeah.
Right? So
The wings.
giving me the feel of, that iridescent, semi-opaque nature of the wings is great. Good job. Fun models. All of these are really fun.
General Ginkgo.
Oh, here we got some really good texture on the face, right? So the damage and veiny cracking on the face is really cool. I love the coloration on this one, right? That kind of bluish purpleness along the 5 o'clock shadow line of the vampire is really neat. The kind of rough, dry, brushy feeling texture on the fur works really well. Also, the stippling of the color out of the tips on the fur into the shadows is really great. And then notice the cape or jacket itself has a totally different texture. So he's doing that kind of perpendicular hatching towards the highlights along the edges, so they don't look super smooth. They've got some roughness to them, which is nice. And then, of course, the metallic on the chain and stuff is great. Very nice job.
I'm liking the skin on that one.
Yeah, very nice job.
Flapjack Nickelsack. Old Man Bunny with the katana.
It's like Usagi Yojimbo 100 years later.
Yeah. Oh man.
I like this.
Cool. I like the stone
The
on his
wizened
feet,
rabbit.
too.
Yeah, very cool. The kind of marbly floor is good. I really love the texturing on the coat and the pants, right? It's really nice. The darkened seams and then the patchy, splotchy kind of coloration gives it a beaten look.
Gave him a
well
blind
worn.
eye. Nice.
I like it.
Great job, Flapjack.
Oh yeah, his right eye is milky white. I like it.
Yeah, right there.
I like it. Good job. Yeah, the fur and everything looks really great on him.
Ginkgo, this one's cool. I love this. Love the patchwork.
Yeah.
I love this right here.
Yeah,
Oh, I
good
wanna
job.
do
Great
that on
job
my
on
garments.
the brownish leather in the patchwork cloak and then the leather on the strap too. Different textures. The strap leather looks completely different. I'm digging that.
Oh yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, the splotchiness on the fabric, it makes it look very heavy. Right? It's got a weight to it. I dig it.
Dope
This
model.
is a crazy model.
Like
What's plugged into his head? Like the liquid in the vials
It's-
plugged into your dome is a little
I
disturbing.
feel like it's kind of like Bane,
It's a
right?
little
Like
disturbing.
like something like Bane would have, where it's just like
It's a little disturbing. Bane didn't have it plugged into his head. It was in like his back, I think. But like that's your head, Chris.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
That's your
story.
cranium.
It's a very interesting. Story.
That's his commitment. It's like, yeah, doc, drill some holes in my head.
Ooh,
This is one of the Mindworks
yeah.
robot ones,
Love this back.
the robot series.
This it's funny. Like this one, it looks like a like I'm looking at an oil painting.
It looks like a very impressionistic painting, right?
I'm
It almost
looking at
has like
like
a
an
Van Gogh
oil.
feel to it.
Yeah,
It's got some neat stuff going on. The use of color, the color running outside of the area gives it kind of a glowy effect.
Yeah, I'm really liking
the
this.
warmth and color brought up onto the metallic of the robot. Gives it some like sun reflection feeling. Yeah, I'm really digging that. And done with some very broad brushstrokes. This is not something where you can get this amazing output and not have to worry about super smooth blending. It looks and gives it, like Chris said, that feel of oil painting.
It does. It looks like I'm looking at a painting as well, which is really very unique.
Yeah, and again, the texturing on the marble floor is really good. The texturing on her skin is really good. Yeah, I like a lot of this. Pimenta Mori. I love it. Great name. This is like what are these guys called?
I don't know.
I always forget the
Oh, it's
Marines.
bigger. It's definitely bigger. Okay, I'm like,
Yeah, this thing's a big model.
yeah.
It's like Primark size. It's like this is like Demon Primark Ferrus Manus.
Yeah, it's like Ghost Rider meets.
Well, he
Primark.
does. It's like Ferrus Manus, but because he's got like the steel hands. So this is like the return of Ferrus Manus.
Oh,
I'm interested to know
wonder
the
if
story
that's it.
behind this because it feels like with the metal hands and the big tech backpack that Ferrus Manus was known for, it feels like, yeah, it's Legion to the Damned Ferrus is what it feels like, right?
yeah, that's
It's
cool.
crazy. Yeah, it's what it looks like. Vector, it's more than a tech marine. It's Ferrus Manus. Look at he's got like metal hands.
Yeah,
The metal hands that Ferrus had were from a monster, some demonic beast that he killed. When he killed it, I think he killed it like barehanded, and part of its essence rolled up into his hands and gave him that metallic feel. And he spent his entire life having to kind of fight off the influence of this other being that was influencing him or attempting to influence him through the subversion of his flesh.
that's cool.
So his one wish, his story is fairly sad. Obviously, he was one of the first Primarchs to die, if not the first to die, right? Fulgrim killed him and chopped his head off. But his wish was to be able to expunge the need for technology and to get his Legion back into accepting the power of flesh.
Wow,
Because they were the Iron Hand Legion.
that's
And,
pretty cool.
And they all really relied on technology and were very Adeptus Mechanicus centric. And he wanted to expunge that from his body and get him back to understanding the value of flesh, which was cool.
All
The
right.
serpent melted and fused to his hands. Yeah, he drowned. That's right. He drowned it in lava and it melted to him, but its influence was still there in his body.
Oh,
General Ginkgo putting 3 in the hopper.
look at that.
I don't pay attention to anything past 2, Ginkgo. You know this. You don't get 3 entries. What do you think this is?
love the veil over.
Baby
the
J's
face.
been being lazy. These people letting you get away with 3 entries. First thing I notice is the texture on the neck.
Yeah,
The way the skin is painted on the neck. The veining again. I really dig it.
the armor too.
Yep. Great job on this. The armor almost has like a stone feel to it.
Yeah, like a verdigris or stone. That's cool.
Right? Another fun model.
Brussels sprout.
I love
Definitely
this.
not blank. Oh yeah.
I love
That's
it.
funny.
Brussels sprout is my favorite name ever.
Brussels sprout.
Brussels sprout. I love it. Great job. Again, the fur, adding a little bit of extra brush texture in there to make the fur a little bit more alive than the sculpt would provide. You can see the sculpt has a little bit of surface texture baked in for being hair, but the brush strokes really bring it out. I just love this. These cutesy. What are the little green things? Are they like aliens?
I think they're not skulls.
They're like little beings peeking
This
out
looks
from
like a
everywhere.
Skull, right? Like it's starting to look like a little skull.
Yeah, kinda. But they're like faces.
Not sure what that is.
What am I looking at?
What am I
Is that like a
looking at?
penguin?
This is a penguin. No,
What's up with the penguin head not having a body?
they are Brussels sprout. Here we go. They are little skulls. Oh, okay.
Can I understand more about this guy? Like, what's going on
You
here?
know the story.
What's going on here? I need to know. Colonel, what's happening?
Oh, a Trench Crusade. Ugh.
Ugh.
Great Trench Crusade model here.
Yeah, I always like to take all this in and then just kind of look back at what jumps out. Color-wise, the rusty chains jump out.
Mm-hmm.
That really adds some like, these things are beat, right? And raw steel versus the anointed metal of his chassis. When
Skulls
you
are the
get
plinth of the
that
face.
big, huge chunk of rust in there.
Nice.
I dig it. Great job on catching all of the sculpt. This sculpt has some good raised texture, sculpted texture in the wheel, and great job catching all that.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the few things that I've painted in recent past where you didn't really have to do a whole lot more to the wood to really make it come alive because the sculpt is so good.
Mm-hmm.
But great job on the metal. The use of coloration to give it that texturing, that kind of green tarnish on the chest piece and stuff. That it's reading green in the photo. May or may not be at your end.
No, yeah, I think it is.
I like it. Oh my gosh, is this honey badger?
It is a honey badger.
Is this honey badger?
The cloak, very nice. I love how it's hitting the light here.
Yeah, and again, notice the perpendicular texturing going across the folds in the cloak gives it a good type of fabric texture, like it's threaded, which works really, really well. That's what I was talking about before with the sky blue. You can see there on the loincloth in the front, that brightest magenta purpley highlight between his legs. You can see that it's made up of a bunch of sideways brush strokes. Sometimes they get closer together and look like a solid line, but then they feather out and get further apart as you go into the area where it's kind of diminishing, and it brings that texture into focus, which is really cool. And the metallics are great. They're smudged up. That sword looks beaten up, right? All the armor does.
You definitely can see the texture of the sword.
I always say dry brushed texture. That doesn't mean that I think you dry brushed it necessarily, but the dry brush will leave a texture, and the wetter you run your dry brush, the more of a smudge brush it becomes, and that smudgy nature of applying paint when doing metallics makes metal look really cool because it can give you, depending on your color choices, in this case, the kind of dark silver into silver, it gives it that tarnished effect.
Yeah.
And works really, really well. Same with the gold. The gold trim and everything looks fantastic.
Chills. What am I looking at here?
It looks like a bunch of like that's a bus.
Like buildings and
like
buses and a tree?
School bus on the side of a tree. What is this?
The scale of this tree is massive if this is a school
Yeah,
bus.
what is this model?
It's cool.
I like it. I would pull more highlight. This is one of those where there's a lot of detail in the sculpt. So like the leaf canopy on the tree has a lot of a bumpy texture almost to give it the idea of that frilly leaf. And being able to pull your colors in, you've done a great job with getting some dark coloring in there that makes it look like there's depth to the leaves. Because of course the sculpt is just a big glob. And if you just paint it green, it doesn't look like a tree. It looks like an ice cream cone, right? And what you've done with the dark colors is really nice. It gives depth to that texture. I would then go a step further and pull the leaf colors, give some highlight up towards the top of those the green parts.
Yeah.
That goes into a bright yellow green, so it feels like sun is reflecting off of the top of the tree. But great job on this. I really dig it.
Chills, I'm curious how big this model is. Chills is in the chat here. I'm curious on how big it is.
It's interesting. Do you say what it is, though?
Chills didn't get the texture. Best texture was going for details or tiny.
I think it's great. The first thing, look at the picture on the left and see the dark spots make it feel like those are the spots where there aren't any leaves, and you can see into the inner portion of the canopy. And that's tough to accomplish on trees like this. Because it's not there. You're trying to fool people. But when you look at a tree, the leaf canopy is never solid.
Right.
You know?
It's never
You
solid,
can see through the branches. It's depending on the time of year, you can see through into the inner workings of the tree. And so that dark coloring does a good job of giving me that feel. It puts some depth to it. So great. And that in itself is a texture.
It is a tiny. It's
it is tiny, yeah.
3.5 inches tall. Wow.
Yeah, great job. I love it.
That's super tiny.
What's the story there?
Yeah, I'm curious.
I feel like there's a story with the bus and everything nailed to the tree that I'm missing. Like,
These
is this
look
like
buildings?
This is like Whoville.
Yeah.
Horton hears a Who. This is where the Who's live.
Red Spartan.
Deathcore. This is the Deathcore captain or whatever, right?
The Krieg.
The Krieg captain. I have a unit of these guys. I
You
love
do?
the horse with the gas mask on. I think it's fantastic. Great opportunity for texture on this one. I think we need to spend a little bit more time on it, separating out the way you're doing your different materials again by using that brush stroke. Like, when I look at the picture on the right and I look at the way that the skin is that smooth reddish color, and then the gas mask is that black with the gray highlights. On the gas mask, maybe do a little bit more hatching so it looks like the rubber's been used, right? It's gritty, and do a little bit of hatching of the highlights like we talked about. Then it sets it apart from the skin. When we paint everything the same way, using the same blended brushstroke and everything, even though your colors are different, like I said, they all tend to look like similar materials. And so it's really about using the brush stroke to give it a texturing that makes it feel apart from everything else. I love the use of color on this. I'm really liking the bright lavender kind of sash that he's got going on and the plume. Neat coloration. It's flayed flesh. Pictures don't capture it well, Red Spartan. Oh, am I supposed to be able to see like muscle striations in it? Is that what you were going for? That would be really cool. Yeah, I'd like to see a closer in pick on that. That'd be bitchin'. I dig it.
Oh, Swifty Bear.
This man has no head.
Now, here's my question. Is it a ghost in armor? When I saw this earlier today, is it a ghost in armor, or is this like the headless horse rider kind of
Is
a
that
deal?
a weasel?
That is something. It looks like a weasel to me.
Is there a story we're
muskrat?
supposed to be getting here? I feel like there's like an inside joke happening here.
I love the greens because you all know me. I just love green. I love the rusty metal. This is an effect that I feel like I've seen before. This is a similar technique Jason taught me a long time ago with the rusty
Revenge
metal.
of the Mink? Yeah, I'm like, what? There's a story here that I think I'm supposed to get.
Swifty Bear, what is this thing?
Like, I feel like there's a joke, like an inside joke happening here, and that's like a ferret or a weasel. This is Ferret Manus.
Ferris
I'm stuck
Manus?
on Ferris Manus because he has no head. So I think it's Ferret Manus.
Ferret Manus.
I'm gonna go with Ferret
Yeah,
Manus.
I bet you that's what it is.
I'm gonna go with Ferret Manus because
Ferret
he has
Manus?
no head.
Swifty Bear going, oh, here it is. It's a rusted over construct with a new weasel that popped by.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna go with Ferret Manus.
Ferret Manus.
His head
That's
is gone.
hilarious.
It's great.
That's great.
I love it. He's got a weasel that stopped
sorry.
by.
Oh, awkwardish.
Oh, awkward. See, now this is everything I'm talking about.
Looks like texture to me.
This is everything I'm talking about. Everybody has seen a ball of thick yarn. And what we have here is like yarn mimic. And look at the painted texture. That hand-painted texture pulls it off beautifully,
Yep.
right? The texture is done from the base coat all the way up to the highlight.
Mm-hmm.
So you maintain that kind of imbalance when you go from your darker colors in the shadows, but you start adding your texture there, and then you build texture on top. You're not painting over each texture stripe with another color to highlight each stripe. You're just doing more stripes of the brighter colors as you go. Some cover up the last one, some let them show through. It creates a multi-layered texture that gives it depth and thickness to the end product. That is what we see here. This is every ball of yarn I've ever seen. Great job.
Yeah, this is a cool.
Yeah, this is a sick twist on the mimic. I love this one. Great job.
Treebeard.
What's up with the weasels?
Wow.
Or is this a ferret?
No. What is that? That looks like a.
I'm gonna go with weasel.
Mm-hmm.
Mongoose. Because it looks like a snake man on a mongoose.
That's super cool. I love the tree trunk this thing is.
Is this a snake on a mongoose? Because there's some.
Oh, it's a ferret.
irony
Treebeard
in
says. Treebeard says it's a ferret.
I think it's a mongoose.
You all know me. I go straight to the plants.
I think you're wrong.
The plants?
No, because it looks like a snake man.
It's a ferret. Treebeard says it's a ferret.
That's Treebeard's ferret, Tao Tao. Oh, nice. All right. I'll give it to you then.
Yeah, I love the plants. I love the
Mongoose.
this big thing it's on too.
Mongoose.
It's mongoose.
If it's plural,
Mongoose.
it's mongoose. It's a flock of mongoose.
No, it's a mongoosin.
It's mongooses.
It's mongooses, everybody.
They're all mustelids in the end, John Grammaticus. Mustelus siberica,
wow.
we make brushes out of.
This is cool.
I like it. Again, lots of models here with hair. Hair is the perfect texture to get, but I like the spotting on the leather of the bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like everything that I'm seeing here. I wish there wasn't quite as much blown out highlight across the top. I feel like there's some good texturing on the skin of the dude riding it. The wood has got a really good splotchy texture to it. Great stuff. The mushrooms, look at the dotting and the kind of splotchy texture on that mushroom at the front. The little leaves on the fronds, the palm frond looking stuff on the bottom. This is a neat use of texture across all this. Great stuff.
Game delay.
Ooh, game delay getting all fancy.
Oh, love the leaves. Leaves. Look at that. Plants. Leaves.
Game delay getting all fancy, painting leaves. Look at that. Great job using the depth. This is exactly what I was talking about, even though the texture is more of a specifically painted texture in the leaf texture that he's doing on the 2D. Look at where the leaves start. They start in the darkest color, right? The texture that he's done and the brushstrokes that he's done in the dark colors, and then coming up through the midtones until finally the brightest colors. Imagine this on that three-dimensional surface of that tree we saw earlier, where if you'd have brought these dark colors up into the bright colors at the top of the canopy, this is the kind of dimension you'd get on a three-dimensional or a two-dimensional version of this. So great job. I'm not sure what the texture is at the top. Is that like mountain crags behind her wings on the 2D surface? Whatever it is, great texture painting on both that and on the model itself, because bringing the leaf texture into her legs, fantastic work.
Yeah.
Great job.
Great. That's it.
Game delay, I'm going to need you to get good.
Get good, game delay.
Get good, game delay.
That's it, Jason. What do you think?
Get good, awkwardish.
Get
Jeez.
good, everybody.
You people have been here way too long to paint like this.
All right, Jason.
Wait a minute. I have to pick?
You have to.
That's not my job. It's your job.
My pick?
Yep.
No, we both have to pick.
Damn it. Jen's supposed to pick. Somebody
I'm
other
gonna
than me.
pick.
I'm supposed to be able to default
No.
to other people so I don't have to take the
Okay.
responsibility of breaking hearts
This one
and picking winners.
You can only pick one.
I can only pick one out of all of these?
One. I'll pick one, and you pick one.
Chat.
You only get one.
Chat, we're hiring.
Chat, I'm making this really
We're
hard.
hiring for my position. Because I can't take this anymore.
I'm going to go to the beginning, and I'll do a slow scroll. Right? Okay. Here we go. Slow scroll.
Keep going.
Oh, I know.
Oh, that one's so good. Oh.
We're just the whole time like, whoa.
Man. What the heck? Why do you people treat me this way?
You only can pick one. I have mine.
Okay, you pick yours.
No, you have to go
Let
first.
me know what's left.
Okay, no, you're right. Okay. The one that really spoke to me, Wyden. This one it's speaking to me. I love the turtle skin, and like I can see the wrinkles of the lips. I love how the crinkling of his face as he's getting mad or like he's snarling. I can see all of that just happening in his face.
Yep.
And then how the rest of the model and like his breastplate, right?
Yeah.
Just has a really cool effect on it. Wyden, I think I remember seeing the back of this in the Discord, but his shell also really great, but like even all the way down to the little bit of the eye mask.
Yep.
Right here, like where it's going over the breastplate. So that's really what.
Yeah, great job. Because one of the things we haven't really been talking about is the standard painting. I don't want to call it meticulousness, but the standard painting regiment has to hold true too. You've got great shadow, great midtones, great highlights on this model.
Yeah.
Then utilizing the texture throughout those is what really brings it to life. The one thing I will mention here, and this is not a knock on Widan's paint style at all. I want everybody to notice what satin finish does to a model.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only thing that I'm seeing here that's messing with the texture and the balance of color and everything on this model is the shine that the paint has. This is one of the biggest things that influenced me when designing Pro Acryl to go with an ultra matte finish, because this detracts from some of the texturing on the model when the shine of the light in the room takes over and gives me color where color shouldn't be.
Oh, is it transparent, Wyden?
So
Is that? Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, matting it down I think would help a little bit because I'm missing some of the texture and the musculature on the arms and such because of the glare on the lights. But great job. Yeah, it's a fantastic model.
Transparent purples.
Nice.
Okay, so that's a light essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, like
Yep. It's a reflection of the light.
Should matte varnish. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, this one definitely spoke out to me. I really love the
It's
face.
fantastic.
It's such a cool model.
Fantastic. That's one of the things that we talk about. And like I said, this is no knock on because Whedon's great work. But also understand that matting of your work. And here's, it's funny because matte paints scare some people and they don't like them because matte paint shows you the quality of your work instantaneously. And that shouldn't be a fearful thing. It should allow you a learning mechanism to see because every brushstroke will be more notable with matte paint. You don't have the ability to hide behind the shine of the paint, which a lot of the satin paints do. But it also is scary because it will detract from your work to have satin colors on paint in the final job because it will not show all the work you put into the model. So it's always a fight, right? I love satin paint for being able to do particular things, but it will also make it to where it's very hard to see all the detailing I've done in the end. That's one of the things I fought as a kid because all the paints we had were gloss enamels and satin paints. There were no matte paints when I was growing up. And so all of your models were shinier than you wanted them to be. Yeah. And I was looking at these pictures of guys that were matte varnishing their models, and I was like, why do theirs look so much better than mine? And then I found matte varnish, and you'd matte varnish your model, and then I realized what a bad painter I was because I matte varnished my models, and you saw your brush strokes immediately because what was blending it visually was the reflection of the paint. And so that was really where my paint game, I think, honestly took its biggest step was in my kind of almost teenage years when I found matte varnish and it showed me the mistakes that I was making and made me pay more attention to my brush strokes. So
nice. All right, Jason.
I'm just trying to buy time so I don't have to pick anything.
Yeah. All right.
There's no way I'm only picking one.
You got to just pick one. Right?
I think being the boss. You know what's really hard about this month?
Yeah.
Is that there's some spectacular, just fun models.
Yes. Uh-oh. That's it. Nope. All right. Going backwards. You tell me when. Chat. Drum roll, please. Game delay now.
Go back. Go the other way for a second. Okay, go back. You can go back towards the beginning like you were doing. Oh, you guys are killing me. I hate this because they're all so great. It makes it harder and harder. What we need is the amount of people sitting in this room to pick winners as there are entries every month. That's what we need. Because Cozy doesn't have the texture of the sweater built in.
This is all.
That's all painted.
It's all painted.
Yeah.
Zombie, you did a great job on this.
I love that one. I love that one.
This is a very close second for me because I just think I see the subtle texture of the makeup.
It's a great job.
It's the makeup that really gets me on this one because that kind of makeup just cakes up. But anyway,
the hand done stuff on that one is tremendous, right? The hand done, the freehand texturing on there is really good.
I mean, even the bird too. All right, Jason, what are you gonna do?
I hate you. I hate you.
Ready? How about a speed version? Sorry, I won't do that to you ever again.
Oh my God. This is too hard, man.
You can't be. You have to figure it out.
This is too hard. Tech Elf gets one. Zombie gets one for the cozy. Awkwardish gets one for the yarn.
Tech Elf? Now, what if you had to pick one?
That isn't the world I live in.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, is that it?
I think Tech Elf.
Let's go back to Tech Elves first.
Awkward. Oh, and that one.
This one,
Yeah, and Ryan. I picked 4.
You picked 4. That was the opposite of what I asked. But hey,
You're not the boss of me.
hey, that's facts.
You're not the boss of me. I'm a sucker.
You're
Eventually,
a
everybody
sucker.
wins.
Hey,
Tech Elf, because that's just all of these. Just I like picking the models that really just speak to me, and the Joker one is just so well done with the face paint, like Chris said. This one, yeah, that one's just so well done. This one has such a great texture on that skull and on the metal for being such a simple piece. So this is one where you take simplicity and turn it into something very visually stunning via the texture on the brush. Because the model itself would not pull its weight. This model is not interesting enough on its own. This model is like a detail on a better model.
that's what I'm
But
thinking.
now you've made it stand on its own, and this is something really cool. I would put
Yeah.
this like on a shelf in a bookshelf because of the texturing on it.
Yes.
Whereas as just a a plain plastic piece, this better be a part of a bigger model that's cooler.
Tech Elf, and I'm just curious. I think I'm looking at the outside, like what it's sitting on. I believe this is rather big. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Oh yeah, we never got an answer.
Unless that is a top of a paint bottle, and you have a macro lens of some sort.
no, it's a flip lid on one of our bottles.
I don't know. If it is, that's
If it is, that texture is even more amazing.
and then zombies.
Zombie, killing
Great
it.
job.
Amazing job.
Love the eyes. The eyes are great.
Everything on this model has an amazing texture to it. The skin has an amazing texture. The hair, the sweater, and the cup all have an amazing texture. They all, like the cup is that dull, matte black spun aluminum or stainless steel that our cup is. The sweater feels like wool. The hair feels like hair. The skin has got a neat texture with the freckling on it. And then the eyeballs have got that wet look along with the lips too. So this is just an all-encompassing job. Great job, Zombie.
The skull is the size of a paint bottle. Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
It's awesome.
And
Like I said,
then-
you've taken an uninteresting piece and made it very interesting through texture, which I think is great.
And then we've got
So many good ones.
awkwardish.
Awkwardish because I can feel the yarn.
I can feel the yarn.
It's just so great. And again, look at the tongue. Look at the area of the tongue where it's at what I would call the base, where it attaches to the mouth. And look, you get that kind of frosted over look of like a dry tongue going on there. So there's so much texture here. The teeth, the gums, the yarn. Yeah, this is a great job. Mimic yarn scares the hell out of me.
Nice job, everybody.
Fantastic
Thank you so
job.
much for all your submissions. This is awesome. We always love doing this. So
Fantastic.
thank you
job.
guys.
Yeah, the gums and the lower gum with those teeth, that's spooky as hell. It's horrible. As always, just a fantastic job. I could have picked every single one of these. The people that are entering for the first time, great jobs. Everybody here did a fantastic job. Remember, these challenges are not competitions. They're not to see who's the best painter. They are literally just to see who can step outside their comfort zone, put these things into use, and really gain some good traction in their storytelling. Because my biggest goal is to pass along the painting techniques and helpful hints that will get you to tell better stories on your models by fooling the eye into thinking they're as realistic as possible. Even the most fantastical models out there can really make people be like, ooh, what is this? And everybody here, a lot of these models were just tremendous. The color choices and stuff that people did were great. So thank you so much for entering.
Great job, everybody. We're going to close it out. It is 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Thank
Our
you so
timing is pretty
much.
good. Look, it's 4:02.
Perfect timing.
It's 4:02, Chris.
This is perfect.
It's 4:02, and you were here
Timing.
on time.
I was here on time. I'm here.
I was not here on time. I apologize. We started late because I had a lunch meeting.
No, it's okay. I'm glad we were able to get through it here.
Good stuff. I am going to promise to finish building those models so that we can have them primed and ready to go for tomorrow.
Mhm.
I don't think we need to prime them on stream, so I'll have them primed.
Cool.
And I'll figure out some color scheme.
Yeah,
And,
and
maybe we'll walk through the process of color scheme with
Yes.
chat. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think for essentially our next, we finished up the weathering of the tank, which those will become some series workups as I get those all edited, and we're going to dive into approaching a unit of guys,
Yeah.
for the tabletop. So
Yeah.
that's it.
You know, and you're going to watch me struggle and curse with teeny tiny details. Because the one thing with these super hyper realistic anatomy scaled models at 28 millimeter is that I have no idea what any of the detail is.
Yeah.
My old eyes will be like, what is that?
Chat
is that
picks the
another
color
buckle?
scheme.
You're hearing me talking, cursing about the doohickeys.
The doohickeys.
Because we have these tactical dudes with more doohickeys than you can shake a stick at. Stream.
Cool.
Thank you so much. You guys really killed it on this month's challenge. Remember that February our challenge is to do weathering. So another form of texturing like last month. Some people used a little bit of weathering on their models we saw on this challenge. But this one is taking all the things that we talked about on the tank, the walking tank that I just painted, and putting those to use on some model that you've got. So it doesn't have to be a vehicle, it doesn't have to be a tank. It can be a suit of armor, it can be a fish, you know. One of the fun things that I see people do is take a miniature of just a wizard and turn it into a miniature that looks like a bronze statue, like a weathered bronze statue when it was meant to be a human wizard. So you've got every model's open to you. Have fun with that. We'll look forward to looking at all of those in the coming month. But thank you so much. If you're new around here, please hit that follow button or the subscribe button over on YouTube, or both, for crying out loud. Make sure you follow all the links that Chris put up in chat. The monumenthobbies.com link will take you over to our web store where you can purchase some Pro Acryl and Pro Series brushes, all the wonderful tools we make for you guys. We'd love to have you try us the next time you need some good hobby painting material. Also, check out the FLGS link and your local hobby store, where we have hundreds of stores around the globe where you can order and support your local hobby community. We love seeing that. Check out our Discord, where we have, I always have to look over here, 5,372 amazing artists in the Discord painting bitchin' models for the monthly challenges. Yes, sir. Bitchin' models is right. And yeah, we have an amazing crew and family over on Discord that is welcoming and ready to have you welcomed into our fold. So join us. We have a lot of fun, lots of inspiration from all the artists that you see in chat, as well as tons and tons of others. So come and join us over there. And then the YouTube channel, where you can go back and check up on the VODs for all the latest painting shenanigans that we've been up to, catch things you've missed, go back and review things that you really loved and thought you could get some more info on. And then keep checking back on the YouTube for all the updates that Chris just posted, all of the non-metallic metal gold that we worked up on Anthony L. Tigre last month, and all of that just went up on YouTube yesterday. Great responses on that one, a lot of good feedback, and a lot of really good stuff for you guys and gals to learn. Stick around. Chris is going to find us somebody to raid, show some love in the next channel we wind up in. Enjoy your hobby evening, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow. Adios, gang.